Hi there and welcome back. So this is where we last stopped. We started on the head and already have quite a good amount of detail. So what I continue with is this area right here. Now if we look at the reference pictures, like this one for example, we can see that this area sticks out a little bit. So I'm just going to create face first and then hitting I. I'm going to insert the face. So I have like extruded this loop to the inside, but I've scaled it so that the space between this edge and this edge, or this edge and this edge, will always be the same. So this is the cleanest way, even cleaner than just saying extrude and then scaling it down. As you can see, this space here is much smaller than this one because this area is just longer on this side. But as I said, the way I've done it is the right way to do it. Okay, I'm just gonna close this face, rejoin those vertices. Okay, problem again. See this? 5 vertices. See this one? 6. So, same old problem. It's always the same. What I'm going to do is, as you know, I had created a new loop right here in the last episode. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm just trying to delete it again. I've created a triangle here and one less loop that goes outside of the mesh. So this is a good starting point. We have one odd face here, we have one odd face here, so at the end we should be alright with some filling. I'm just gonna take this one and extrude it out to here. Now we're left with 2 triangles that are pretty close to each other. And now I have to think a little bit. Maybe we can just do it like this and join this face too. Yep, this is a legit way. And now we can just divide this one by 2, pull it out a little bit to get a bit more shape. Pull up some edges, and then we're done. Pretty good. Now continuing to the lower jaw. What I do want to create is at least one more loop that follows the line, so that we can have this detail right here. So I'm just going to take this, extrude this downwards to about here, and give this edge a little bit more detail. Like that. Maybe even to back here. Like this. And the rest is pretty straightforward, it looks like. You can just take this edge right here and kind of bring it up to right here. Which should be good. And then creating a face out of all these vertices. And creating edges to subdivide the face realigning those vertices a little bit like this. And because we're losing quite a bit of geometry right here, I'm just gonna give this a little bit more detail with adding one more loop cut. So we can also get ourselves loose from the problem that we had right here with one more end gun. Now we're back to quartz again. So this doesn't look too bad. This is a bit too much right here. So what I'm going to do is just going to take all these, merge them to this last one. No, wait a second. We only need 3 of them. This. Delete this one, and we're back to quartz. Now, next thing is filling up these gaps. Like this. I want to have one face down here. Like that. Again, this is 6, so this is just okay. I'm going to create a face with the very helpful knife tool. I'm going to create this vertex on the face, giving it the shape it needs. That's perfect. Now if we hit smooth shading, then we can already see the shape of the head, and that it looks pretty good already. Now, as you can see, there's still no seam line between the upper and the lower jaw, but we're going to create this later, because right now we're modeling this head with the mouth closed. Later on, so that we can add the details inside of the mouth, we will open the mouth up, because that's much easier to work with. It's just that this blueprint shows the raptor with a closed mouth. This is easier for us to line the upper and the lower jaw up to each other. Alright, so now begins a pretty difficult part. We're gonna have to try to remodel this part with the ear, which is, well, it's just a bit difficult because it's just more guesswork than what we had done until now. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is just try to, you can't really see the ear right here, it's just this shape here, which, well, kind of lines up with what we have right there. I'm just going to try to do it like this. And then this line goes up back here. So this is this line that I'm creating right now. Like so. And then string this vertex out to the middle again to match up with this one, sort of. Actually, I do want one more vertex right here, deleting this edge and then joining these two, which gives us a bit of a cleaner geometry. Yeah, I like this more. Okay, this one still looks a bit weird. Yeah, this is just okay. Yep, I'm happy with that. Now to the ear. This one is gonna be a bit of fiddling, I think. So this is the vertex on the most, well, this point of the ear, which is the one that's most in the front of the head. And from here, I'm going to extrude it upwards to the back a little bit, like this, to get the shade right. And then I think I'm gonna do this like that. Just making a little hole and then adding the rest of the detail later on. Like so. And like this. Okay. So this is pretty much the end of the mouth right here. And this is that jawline. We're up to about here. Extruding this loop. Now this doesn't really have to be too overly detailed, because much of the detail we can add later on with sculpting, which will be much easier than modeling everything up with polygons. But I always like to have a certain amount of geometry, about as much as we have right here, because I think it's just easier to do it this way than to start sculpting from the ground up, and because many of you might not have a tablet at home where you can just use your pen to do it. With mouse it's pretty difficult to do, which is why I stick with just modeling and then afterwards sculpting the details, which is much easier even with the mouse. And then I'm just gonna try to straighten out the loop so that it makes this one loop around the head. Pretty much I'm gonna do this one. But we will need more detail here. No, wait. Easier to just extrude these out. And we can make a face out of this one. Give these a bit of a clean line. Well, I'm pretty happy with how it looks like, to be entirely honest with you. Looks very, very good. Very convincing on the first try. It's quite a lot of guesswork, I have to admit, but you do get better when you do it a few times. I've already tried to do this a few times. This is not the first time that I'm trying to record this tutorial, and every time I just can see how it gets better and better, and how I always know better how to line the vertices up to make the hair look good. And this time I'm very, very happy with it. And I really encourage you to not just give up if it doesn't look good, but maybe even just start from the beginning on an early stage. If you can see that at this stage the head doesn't look right, then I really wouldn't bother with continuing to modeling the Velociraptor or any dinosaur that you want to do, or any animal that you want to do for that matter. I would really encourage you to just start all over again, because then you kind of know where the difficulties are, and you can get a much better result with just doing it once again and then trying to do everything better from the beginning and not changing it up in the middle of the way. Now I want to give this jawline a little bit more shape to it, so I'm gonna extrude this one and bring it down so that we have like an edge right here, so we can really differentiate it from where the neck begins, like that. Now this is quite a lot of vertices on this loop, which I don't particularly like right now. Just a little bit difficult to work with later on. So I'm gonna try to bring this amount down a little bit. Have to see where we can merge them. Oh yeah, we will bother about this later on, a little bit later, because what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take these vertices to the end of the mouth, so to right here, and I'm just gonna, with Control B, give this edge a bevel. So we have created one more loop around here. Now I'm just gonna hit X and delete the faces, because what this does is it gives us just a seam between the upper and the lower jaw, which is exactly what we want. And now we have one more vertex that we have to work with. Now I could of course just merge these into this one, but I do want one more vertex right here so we can have a sharp edge at the end of the mouth, so it does look better later on with the subdivision surface modifier. Okay, so I'm just trying to create this edge that goes around here, which you can see here, like a bit of bone from the skull that's sticking out. Or like that. Okay, I think the next thing will be merging these three into one. So I think we can do it this way. Yep, this looks alright. That's just perfect. And now we have much less geometry to worry about, because we don't need very much right there. We'll have to get the neck to more of an oval shape. It's kind of squared at the moment, so I'm kind of giving it more oval shape overall. Like this. And helping the mesh flow a bit more, like that. Yep, I think that's alright. But up here it's still a little bit too many vertices for my taste. What can we do with merging these three? Already better. We'll have to maybe do it. Nope, that's not really what I wanted. But this way, yep, this looks good. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay. Next thing, extruding this. So now finally have one loop going all around the neck. Like this. I want to give it a little bit more detail. I'm gonna add one more loop and try to make it a bit more random. And also, again, giving it a little bit more of an oval shape. Looking at this, yep, already much better than before. Now, what we want is like one loop going around in kind of this shape. So we need to get this one, extrude it, rotate it, scale it down so that it fits where we wanted to have it, and then shaping it a little bit more again. I'm having a look at what the shape is. It gets sort of wide at the center, so I'm going to scale it in the x-axis like this. This might not be the final shape because I think we'll have to still work on it a little bit more, but for now, as a starting guide, this is pretty good. I'm making these spaces more uniform between the loops, like this, giving this a bevel. Control B, oh wait. Gonna subdivide it, create a loop cut. Okay, just like that. It's still a bit too many vertices for me. I want to have a little bit less of them. So, solving these two. Yep, that's much better already. Because we don't need this much detail on the neck. There won't be as much as like around the eyes, where your eyes are always drawn to. We need pretty high polygon count in here, but on the neck right here, not so much. Oh, sorry, forgot that for a moment. Double G is a very good shortcut for moving the vertices on the edges and not moving them around in free space. I will use this shortcut pretty often. I do think that this should more be like loose hanging flesh, much more than what the neck actually is. So this is more like skin hanging loose from under the neck. So I'm gonna make this a bit shallower and then give this upper part a bit more shape. This should look like this is the neck and there's a little bit of skin hanging down there. Shouldn't be too much because the Velociraptor is not, you know, like a big animal like the T-Rex, where you can really see that, where it's similar to the elephants, where much more skin is just hanging down, while on small animals like mice, as an example, you can't really see any skin hanging from anywhere because they're so small. It's just all much more elastical. So it doesn't need to be too much in this Velociraptor, but a little bit always adds to the realism. I'm going to use smooth now, which will be better for us. Yep, like that.